Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Bikini Bottom. We're going to talk about the most anticipated games of 2025. Butchering accents here. I want to clap, but I literally can't with this thing in my hand. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the most anticipated games ultra super duper video, where you can find the biggest games that will release in 2025. How about that? Not enough coke. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys what the most biggest anticipated games are for 2025. And do you know how many games I have for this video? Almost 45 games. Big AAA games to AA games, a few indie games, but mostly very big anticipated games that you can expect in 2025.
But Max, why are there only 45 games on this list?
Well, little Timmy, I can't put every single game that's coming out next year in this video. Otherwise, this video would probably be 1,000 hours long, and I am a very lazy person, and I'm not going to edit that much. Thank you. Now, a few ground rules though that are very important for this video. First, I'm going to talk about the video games that actually have release dates, like Assassin's Creed Shadows. As an example, that's coming out in February. I'll have the release dates in the corner of the video so that you can see. Then we're going to talk about the video games that don't have a release date yet, but are confirmed for 2025. And I will split that in games that I am sure of will release in 2025, and then games that I am not so sure of, that are kind of maybe it comes out in 2025, we don't know. That's kind of just a maybe category, basically. There will be timestamps in this video for every single game. If something catches your eye, a certain game that you think of, hey, this looks amazing, this looks like the best super duper video game I've never seen in my life before, even though there are these days 1 million trailers out on the internet and you are extremely stupid, you will be able to note it down in your notebook. You will be able to Google it. There are timestamps basically in the video, so it's easier for you. Okay, happy now? So the very first month is of course January, and there are some remasters coming out in January, especially on Nintendo side. Donkey Kong HD, that type of stuff, but I wanted to avoid remasters or lazy remasters as much as possible for this list, and I have 3 big games in general that are coming out that are quite interesting and new. Dynasty Warriors Origin is coming out on the 17th of January. You know, it's Dynasty Warriors. There's actually a demo out for that game if you are interested to try that out. I also have it on my PlayStation 5 right now to try it out. If you look at the gameplay, it looks much like Dynasty Warriors, of course, with a lot of NPCs that you fight against, multiple armies and big fights going on with big weapons. You know, the usual Dynasty Warriors stuff. It's coming out on the 17th of January. Then a game I'm very interested in is Eternal Strands. This is basically a AA, very bright version of Shadow of the Colossus. And you can basically climb on these monsters and fight against them, a la, of course, Shadow of the Colossus. But the thing is, I've never been a big fan, actually, of Shadow of the Colossus at all. And to me, the gameplay that is on display here looks much more in-depth than just stabbing the Colossus on its back. You can actually manipulate the environment with elemental magic, stuff like that. And I also think that there are multiple weapons that you can use. So the gameplay already looks more appealing to me, in my opinion. The game is coming out on the 28th of January. Then the last game I have here for January is Sniper Elite Resistance, which is coming out on the 28th of January. I'm going to be honest with you guys, this one doesn't really look appealing to me gameplay wise. It seems like it's stuck in the Xbox 360 era and all these sniper games kind of just look the same. But hey, if you want to shoot some Nazis, that's always fun, I suppose. Then maybe Sniper Elite Resistance is worth the look at least. Then probably the most anticipated game for February, if I have to believe the internet that is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, coming out on the 4th of February. It's a open world medieval RPG game, and I actually did play the first one, but Jesus Christ, I was not the biggest fan of the combat system myself. And also the lockpicking. Who made that lockpicking system there at Warhorse? It's one of the most annoying mechanics in a video game ever. I hope they did something about that lockpicking. But yeah, this game is going to be even bigger and more ambitious than the first game. So there is some promise really with this one. And it's coming out on the 4th of February. Then probably the biggest launch for PC is of course Civilization 7. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I never played a Civilization game at all. But the thing is, I am not into strategy games or grand strategy games at all. So I'm just going to skip this. I'm sorry guys, but it is a big game and it's coming out on the 11th of February. And now we have, of course, Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is releasing on the 14th of February, a long-awaited title that was first delayed from 2024 now to 2025. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I am actually very excited for this game. I know Assassin's Creed Shadows has a lot of controversies, but you know, I'm going to be very selfish here. I just want a damn Assassin's Creed game in feudal Japan, and I don't care about all those controversies. I just really want to play this game for myself to see if it's good. And we now have two main protagonists. We have Yasuke and Naoe. Sorry if I'm butchering those names. Yeah, I'm very interested. You have this dual gameplay approach with Yasuke being the warrior type, shall I say, and Naoe being the assassin type with assassination gameplay and stealth gameplay. And I like this approach. It's going to give you more choices how to approach certain levels. So I really want to see this game succeed or be good. But we shall see. It's releasing on the 14th of February. Then another game that I'm very excited for. One of my favorite studios is working on this one. Avowed, the Black Rock Obsidian are making a new RPG and it's coming out on the 18th of February. And this was at first going to be the Skyrim of Obsidian games, shall I say, but it kind of became a smaller project, still maybe a little bit bigger than the Outer Worlds 1 was, so it will have probably around 30 hours of content, 40 hours ish. And as you guys all know, Obsidian is very well known for its role-playing and choice and consequence, and that's really what I'm looking forward to, as well as the world building here. It's in the same universe, I believe, as Pillars of Eternity, but I could be wrong about that. I never played a Pillars of Eternity game, so I'm going to be very interested in this. It's going to be my very first experience in that universe. We shall see how good it is. It's coming out on the 18th of February. Then on the 21st of February, we have, of course, a new Like a Dragon game. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza. I refuse to say the whole name because it's too damn long. But yeah, I am hyped for any game that RGG puts out, especially if it is Yakuza related or Judgment related. I just did a big video on them, a essay video, check that out on my channel. But yeah, this looks awesome. This is what Skull and Bones should have been, Ubisoft. I mean, Like a Dragon is beating out your quadruple A game. What a absolute joke. But yeah, this looks awesome. You're going to play as Majima. Goro Majima.
Mashima.
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 Goro Majima. Goro Majima. 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 I'm trying to get some character development, okay? One of the best characters in the Like a Dragon universe, and he really deserves his own game. It's coming out on the 21st of February. And then the big game for Capcom, which is releasing at the end of February, is Monster Hunter Wilds. And I tried to play Monster Hunter Wilds, the beta to be precise, and I am just not the biggest Monster Hunter fan at all. I tried to play it, but I just could not get into it at all. I'm just a very socially awkward guy and don't really play games in multiplayer format. But yeah, this is still a very big game that's going to release this year, and it is a necessity to be on this list. Maybe you guys will really enjoy it. And Monster Hunter has been a very decent franchise over the last few years, with a lot of good scoring games towards reviews, that is, and critical reception. So you can look forward towards that. It's coming out on the 28th of February. Then we're going to talk about the month of March, and there are some games in March as well that I want to mention. Now, I know I said I wouldn't feature too many remasters, but I do make exceptions for some very special remasters, and this is one of those. Suikoden 1+2 remaster is coming out on the 6th of March, and the reason really why I am making an exception for this entry in particular is because we haven't had a new Suikoden game in probably years and decades, I believe, at least anything Suikoden related officially, shall I say. So this is a pretty big deal. It has been a very long time since the previous game came out. So yeah, it's coming out on the 6th of March, and I will be picking this up for myself as well. Then we have the newest game from Haze Light Studio, which is Split Fiction. It's coming out on the 6th of March. This is of course the newest game, co-op game from Joseph Fares. He is a pretty noteworthy guy in the gaming industry, and he also won, I believe, in the last Game Awards or the year before that. That was with another co-op game, and now he has a new one ready, and this looks like a more ambitious game from the last one that he did. It looks pretty cool. It's coming out on the 6th of March. Then another exception that I have to make as a remaster is for Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, which is coming out on the 20th of March. This is a very anticipated game. I really like the Xenoblade Chronicles games, and Xenoblade Chronicles X was missing for a very long time on the Switch, and it was stuck, I believe, on the Wii U. I never got to play it because I never owned a Wii U, but now this game is finally coming to the Nintendo Switch, and the reason why I really want to put this on this list is because it's basically a light remake with new graphics, stuff like that, and textures. So it's more than just a lazy port. That's a big reason for why I want this on this list, and it's coming out on the 20th of March. Then we have a new IP, which is Atomfall, and it's basically kind of a Fallout-esque, Stalker-esque like game, but then in the United Kingdom, kind of like Fallout London. I also did a review for that, check that out, it's also on the channel. And yeah, this looks pretty interesting to me, especially if it can get some inspiration in its gameplay from Fallout. That would be pretty cool, but I do believe it's more action focused than RPG focused though. It's coming out on the 27th of March. And then the last game for March is the first Berserker Khazan, which is coming out on the 27th of March. And this is a dark Souls-like game. And as you guys might maybe know, I am not the biggest fan of Souls-like games. So for me, this is going to be a skip. But in my opinion, the gameplay looks pretty cool, and I believe it had like a beta or like a demo that they already did, and it did receive some positive feedback. So maybe keep an eye on this one if you are a Souls-like player. It's coming out on the 27th of March. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is a brand new Western JRPG, a turn-based JRPG. I never thought I would say this out loud. A JRPG made by a Western studio. Yes, you heard me right. This is actually a turn-based JRPG from a developer, a new studio coming from Paris called Sandfall Games. And this is probably one of my most anticipated games for 2025. I mean, look at it. Absolutely looks gorgeous with the graphics that it has, but the team said they were very much inspired by games like Final Fantasy as well as Persona, so that gives me a lot of hope because I am a big fan of those games and I really want to see a Western take on a JRPG. I do believe some indie games do that, but not really in the AAA sphere, so this is a very interesting new thing for a AAA game to do. I'm very interested to see how this one is going to shape up. Now, the game is confirmed actually for a spring window, so that is pretty cool, but we don't have an exact release date just yet. Keep in mind, these games can get delayed, and I wouldn't be surprised if this one gets pushed towards the summer. So the next game we're going to talk about is Mafia The Old Country, and this is the next game from Hangar 13. You might know them from their previous games, Mafia 3, which wasn't a big success at all, and also the Mafia Definitive Edition, if I am correct, that Mafia 1 remake, which I liked a ton more than Mafia 3. And now they are finally doing again their own take on a new Mafia game. And this one is set in the 1900s. So that is a little bit further away back in the past. In Sicily, so in Italy itself. And you play as Enzo. And the thing is, I wasn't really the biggest fan of Mafia 3 because of its gameplay, how they set it up, the side quests, stuff like that, and really the main missions you do in between. Now, the Definitive Edition was of course a very faithful remake, so that one was a bit easier to do, but I'm still a little bit skeptical if they can do an actual new game. But I will say the trailer looks promising, and I do believe that this one is actually not an open world game, but more of a linear game, and I think that they can succeed more with that at Hangar 13 than an actual open world game. So I am actually interested to see where this is going. It's releasing in the summer of 2025. And then we're going to talk about Dying Light the Beast. So this is actually a pretty interesting one to me, because this is on what really happened with the first protagonist from Dying Light 1, which is Crane, I believe. I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names because it has been such a long time that I've played Dying Light 1. And I am actually, though, a fan of Dying Light, especially 2. That might be a hot take, but I actually really like Dying Light 2. And I am pretty interested in the storyline that you see, because you see in the trailer that Crane has been experimented on with probably some sort of zombie powers. The thing is, I haven't played the DLC that comes after Dying Light 1, so I don't actually know why he is captured, stuff like that. I probably really should play that DLC, but this game is actually coming out also in the summer, which has been confirmed as well for a release window, and the game is actually 18 hours long. I did not expect that, because this is a smaller project. And hey guys, this is longer than your average Call of Duty campaign, so got it! Still a pretty long time for a campaign for a smaller sized game. Really cool, because I was really seeing this as like the Spider-Man Miles Morales of the Dying Light series, shall I say. So pretty cool stuff that this is still 18 hours long. Let's see how good this is. Dying Light the Beast is coming out around the summer of 2025. The next thing we're going to talk about is, of course, Death Stranding 2, which has also been confirmed for a 2025 window. As you guys all know, I am actually quite fond of Kojima, especially with his way of storytelling. And the thing is, I am quite a new fan of him, because the only games I have played from him are actually Death Stranding 1 and Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. Yes, I know that's a crime against humanity that I haven't played Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3 and 4. I will change that. I bought recently the remastered collection for like PlayStation 3 with all of them on it. I will play that, don't worry. But yeah, Death Stranding 2 looks very interesting. I really wonder though how he's going to evolve the gameplay experience from the first one, because in Death Stranding you just play as a fat ex-delivery guy basically, and that was fun and also pretty unique with the gameplay mechanics of dodging the environment, shall I say. That was interesting, but how are you going to evolve that? Maybe with special type of enemies, or maybe special type of environments that are new towards Death Stranding 2. We shall see how it's going to evolve, because I'm very interested in it, how he's going to do that. From a storytelling perspective, I think he's just going to knock it out of the park again, because I really liked Death Stranding's story especially. We shall see. Death Stranding 2 is releasing somewhere in 2025. I have said it many times on this channel, I am not a Souls-like fan. But it would be very foolish of me if I didn't include this one, Elden Ring Nightreign, which is basically a co-op Monster Hunter-like-esque version of Elden Ring single player, but then in a multiplayer format. This one is pretty interesting though, because it does also add some mechanics from Sekiro, from what I heard about parrying, stuff like that, so that is pretty cool. I am definitely not going to touch this at all. I tried to play the original Elden Ring and I just could not get into it. I did play Black Myth Wukong, and Black Myth Wukong is to me a bit more tolerable because of the fact that I don't get my currency ripped off me when I die. But I would be very foolish if I wouldn't include this one on the list, so it is of course coming out in 2025. The biggest Nintendo game that's probably going to release in 2025 is of course Pokemon Legends ZA, and this is kind of a sequel-ish towards the first Pokemon Legends, but this is mainly set, I believe, in modern time. I could be wrong about that. And it's going to be set in the Kalos region from Generation 6. You might remember that, Pokemon X and Y. I am a very big Pokemon fan, but Pokemon has been going on a very much downward spiral in quality over the past few years, and I haven't been the biggest fan of Scarlet and Violet or Sword and Shield, so I really hope they can pick it up a bit with this game. They do have an extra year of development time now. They haven't really released anything in 2024, so I am still pretty interested to see what they have done with Legends CA, and maybe it's going to be a launch title as well towards the Nintendo Switch 2, so pretty interesting stuff. It is so far confirmed for 2025. Metroid Prime 4 is also, of course, so far still scheduled for a 2025 release, and it might make for a very good Switch 2 launch title together with Pokemon Legends ZA. I'm going to admit, I don't know anything about Metroid at all. I only played a little bit, I think, of the first Metroid Prime, the remaster that they brought out, and maybe I will check this one out if it is good, but it would be very foolish of me to not cover it for this video. It's a pretty much big anticipated game, so it deserves a spot on this list. It's coming out in 2025. You might have already forgotten about this, but there is actually still a Dragon Quest 1+2 remake coming next to the Dragon Quest 3 remake that came out this year, and that is also confirmed for 2025. Now, I don't have any footage for that. I will have to use Dragon Quest 3 footage, but that is confirmed to come out in 2025, so look forward towards that. Doom the Dark Ages is also coming out in 2025, and I was a pretty big fan of especially Doom Eternal and also Doom 2016, and this one looks to be set in a kind of fantasy setting, and I really love the focus on melee weapons and this rotating shield kind of thing. It looks awesome. And battles with dragons, yes, give me all that stuff. I don't know if Mick Gordon is going to be on the soundtrack with this one. I don't think so personally. I do hope they have someone that kind of sounds like Mick Gordon for the soundtrack, but I do think they will find someone that can maybe have the same spirit for the soundtrack. It's coming out in 2025 as well. South of Midnight is the next Xbox exclusive that is coming from the studio who made We Happy Few. And We Happy Few was kind of alright. It was not the best game I have ever played, I'm going to be honest, but this one looks a bit more high budget, and we play in this kind of Southern America, kind of Alabama vibe, shall I say, setting. And I do like the art style here with kind of a stop motion-esque art style with a low frame rate on purpose. I did see though that there is going to be actually a setting that you can turn this off if you don't like the low frame rate setting, so that is pretty cool. It's coming in 2025. We already talked about Death Stranding, of course, but there is another Kojima game going to release in 2025. Well, this one is not made by Kojima, but the original one was made by Kojima. Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta. It's a remake, of course, of the original Metal Gear Solid 3, and I have never played the original Metal Gear Solid 3, so this is my chance to jump in with this legendary game. And Konami has really done a good job recently also with Silent Hill 2 remake. So I am pretty excited with this remake for MGS3, and it looks to be very faithful towards the original, so look forward towards that. It's also confirmed for 2025. Then probably one of my most anticipated video games of 2025, maybe on the same level even as GTA 6 for me, which is Ghost of Yotei. Ghost of Tsushima is one of my favorite games of all time, and I really wanted to see a sequel for this one. And of course, it's not unfortunately Jin Sakai, but I am not really that sad about it because, you know, Jin's story was over in that game. They did a good beginning and a good end for him. And we have now a female character. And there's actually some very interesting stuff about that. Because this game is set next to, I believe, Mount Yotei. That is basically the name of the mountain that you see in the trailer. And there are some, if I am right about this, I could be totally butchering this, but there is some sort of folklore in Japan. If you are close to the mountain as a female, females get actually more power from getting close towards the mountain or something like that. It's very interesting with its concept, if that's true. And they could make a good story with that as well. Maybe some sort of a revenge story. I am very much looking forward to this, and it also has a lot of Red Dead Redemption vibes, at least from the trailer, so it looks very good to me. It's confirmed for a 2025 release. Then we have a new IP releasing also in 2025, which is Wuchang Fallen Feathers, and this is yet again another Souls-like game. Oh my god, please, Lord help me with all these Souls-like games. But this one looks also pretty cool. It has a lot of DNA as well from Black Myth Wukong, in my opinion, with that mythology, Chinese mythology. I hope this is Chinese mythology. It can also be Japanese. I could be totally wrong about this, but yeah. I think it's also by a Chinese studio, could be wrong about that, but it looks very good as well. And yeah, there's some gameplay online as well of it if you want to see more of it. So far it has been confirmed for a 2025 release as well. Now this game is pretty interesting. It's called Pioneer by, I think, a Russian studio. Could be wrong about that, but when you look at the gameplay, there are a lot of similarities towards Fallout and of course Stalker. If you guys are a fan of Stalker, maybe you should check this out. This is a smaller team and a smaller studio, and also probably a smaller project. Although it's quite ambitious for what they want to do. It's like a Stalker-like, more RPG-ish Fallout MMO type of thing. but there is also a single player component as well. And I just really like the art style, and the gameplay is also pretty good so far that I've seen from this one. It's releasing in 2025 as well. The next game we're going to talk about is actually one that I did not know of at first, but apparently it was re-revealed this year, which is Hell Is Us. And to me, this really looks like a Death Stranding Souls-like game, although the creator himself says it's apparently not a Souls-like game, although my eyes say otherwise. Or at least the camera is really pointed just like a Souls-like, as well as the enemies, how they fight against him. I don't know, it's kind of like a Black Myth Wukong situation, I suppose. Maybe it just has some borrowed elements from Souls-like games. This game is supposed to be a sci-fi post-apocalyptic type of game, and you aren't going to get any in-game help or tips via menus, stuff like that. Basically, if you want to go to your objective, you will need to use in-game hints and hints from characters, stuff like that, so that's pretty cool. This is also coming in 2025. Now, I really want to throw this in as an extra game, Mouse PI for Hire. It looks just very cool art style wise. This is, I believe, an indie game, first person shooter that looks like a old Disney cartoon, and I just think that this looks very unique. Kind of like Cuphead, but then in a first person view, and that is more my style. I'm not the biggest one on platforming, so I will keep an eye out for this one coming in 2025. So for all the Legends of Heroes fans maybe here on the channel, there is actually a Trails in the Sky remake coming out in 2025. Now, there isn't a lot of footage here, but from what I know from the studio that makes these games, they tend to be very consistent, just like RGG. So I am pretty sure that this will release in 2025 as well. One of the biggest surprises we saw at the Game Awards was also the announcement that The Outer Worlds 2 is coming out in 2025. And the thing is, I just did not see this coming at all, because Obsidian is already releasing a game in 2 months and it's named Avowed. We just talked about that. But the fact that they also have The Outer Worlds ready for a release in 2025 is kind of just nuts in my opinion. Now, of course, they are 2 separate teams, so that explains a lot, and most of the development of The Outer Worlds 2 basically was alongside Avowed. And the reason why I am pretty sure of the fact that The Outer Worlds will release on time in 2025 is because of the fact that Obsidian is really on this game, and as you guys know, Obsidian are very consistent and they do have a pretty good development timeline. Yeah, I think that it will in fact release next year, but somewhere around the fall period. It's coming out, so far as we know, in 2025. And just as I was editing this video, Lost Soul Aside also got a new quick trailer, gameplay trailer with a 2025 release window. Although it's just a year, and I was expecting at this point now an actual date for Lost Soul Aside, because this game has been in development for almost 8 years, or maybe even longer than that. So yeah, a new confirmed release year, at least for 2025, but I hope it doesn't get delayed again. Then one of the biggest indie games that I did want to include for this video, because I do think it's a pretty big deal to a lot of people, is Hades 2. We know, of course, that Hades was a very big Game of the Year game a few years ago. And of course, they are now doing a sequel, and it is supposed to come out in 2025 somewhere. It's now, I believe, in early access. So yeah, that is also a game that is going to come in 2025. And now we're going to talk about the very last game that I'm very sure of that will release in 2025. It's not just a game, it's a mod, a game sized mod, Skyblivion, a fan-made remake of Oblivion in the Skyrim engine, and this mod has been in development for so long. I think it's from 2014 or something, and we are almost there at the release window for this mod. And why am I so sure about the fact that this mod will come out? Well, the thing is, the Skyblivion team would only really reveal a release window if they were very sure of when they really want to release this thing, because the thing is, they have been working on this mod for so long, and if it just needs more time, they would just say it. They do updates almost quarterly, and if something isn't right with the development, they would just tell us outright basically. But they are very short right now, and you can kind of see the progress for yourself in the gameplay that they release online in live streams and stuff like that. And those progression videos, they are very in depth on how far they are, with a lot of detail that you just don't see in the gaming industry at all. I am a very big Elder Scrolls fan, and we still have to wait for Elder Scrolls 6 for so long, but in the meantime we are going to have this, and I simply cannot wait. Keep in mind though, if you want to play this, you will need Skyrim legally on like Steam or GOG, something like that, and then you can probably download this mod for free on their website. That's really all you need. Maybe also like a good enough PC, but I mean, which PC doesn't run Skyrim these days? So yeah, Skyblivion, it's going to be awesome. Now, let's talk about the most anticipated game of 2025. Tifa's Bikini Simulator. I mean GTA 6. So GTA 6 is of course confirmed for a 2025 release so far. And look guys, I have to be honest about this. I am very skeptical that this game releases in 2025. Why am I skeptical about this? Well, you know, Rockstar just likes to delay stuff from time to time. They did it with GTA 5, they did it with Red Dead Redemption 2. I wouldn't be surprised if they would be like, yeah, hey guys, 2026 now, it's going to be 2026. So that's why I am very skeptical on GTA 6 releasing in 2025. If GTA 6 releases in 2025, that is just an absolute miracle, but I don't know, I am very skeptical on it, so I am going to put this in the maybe category. Then, Fable 4 is probably one of the biggest Xbox exclusives that is now targeting a 2025 release window, and although just like GTA 6, it's confirmed to be 2025, I'm actually rather skeptical that it is actually coming out in 2025. The thing is, we haven't seen darn any gameplay of this game, only really in-engine kind of ish gameplay. It's not really gameplay with like a UI or even showing off combat or exploration, stuff like that. It's just more a cutscene actually that you see in these two trailers. So I'm still kind of skeptical that they can reach a 2025 with this game. So the next game that I want to talk about that might get released in 2025 is Judas, the new upcoming game from the creator Ken Levine. Of course, this is a pretty ambitious project. It's basically a BioShock-like game, but then in space. You know, the typical BioShock stuff that Ken Levine really likes to make. But I'm going to be honest, I am not very certain that this game will release in 2025. The positive thing though is that we have seen gameplay from it, but more through previews with just pre-captured gameplay, but in my opinion it doesn't really look confident enough that it's going to release in 2025, but I will put it as a maybe, because so far it still has a target release before the end of March. They are never going to make that, I can tell you, but I'm even quite skeptical for the rest of 2025 with this one. So Borderlands 4 showed its very first gameplay trailer at the Game Awards this year, and it looked good enough in my opinion. It's another another Borderlands game, of course, although I wasn't really sold on the playable characters that you get to see in it. And you know, Take-Two has a lot on their plate in 2025 with already Mafia The Old Country as well as GTA 6. And are they going to release Borderlands 4 as well next year? Now, if that's the case, we get a lot from Take-Two in just 1 year, but I don't know, I think something has to move. Either GTA 6, but they are just going to delay that, or Borderlands 4 in my opinion. I think Mafia The Old Country is far enough with that summer window that's not going really to move. Either Borderlands 4 is going to move in my opinion, or GTA 6, one of the two. So this is probably the third time that I already talk in one of these most anticipated videos about Crimson Desert. It just gets pushed further and further each time, but now they confirmed finally a 2025 release window, and you know, it looks pretty good. We have seen a 1 hour gameplay clip though on YouTube in full without almost any cuts, so maybe it's coming out in 2025, but we shall see. I really just want to see, might just get delayed again to 2026, but yeah, that's also confirmed for a 2025 window. So a new IP that I want to talk about, which was announced in 2024 by Blooper Team, is Cronos The New Dawn. And Blooper Team just did, of course, Silent Hill 2 remake, so they are free. But apparently they already have a new game ready for 2025, and don't blame me if I'm a bit skeptical on that they have that already ready for 2025. They probably reuse a lot of assets from Silent Hill 2 remake to make this game as fast as they can. But of course, you know, Blooper Team has had a lot of success after Silent Hill 2, and maybe they just wanted to build on that success with a early kind of, hey, we have a new game and it's coming out in 2025. But yeah, I'm very skeptical on that. I think it's going to get pushed to 2026. That's why I am putting it in the maybe category. Marvel Rise of Hydra is also a new Marvel game that is supposed to release in 2025, but you know, I'm quite skeptical on that as well, because we haven't seen really any gameplay for it yet. Maybe they could show off gameplay around the summer period at a showcase somewhere or summer game fest and then have a fall release date. That is absolutely a possibility, but I'm now going to put this for now in the maybe category. This is also, by the way, the new game from Amy Hennig, and she worked on the Uncharted franchise, so you might want to follow this game if you are a fan of Uncharted. Then last year I also talked about this game, which is Clockwork the Revolution, and this is a very ambitious new game from In Exile. They are a very noteworthy RPG studio underneath the Microsoft first party belt, and I do really like their work. And they are finally now really stepping it up towards a more AAA budget game. And this looks very good, but there is currently not really a release window given at all. But it can release in 2025, because the last time they have showed this off is now 2 years ago. So maybe it could be a thing, but I can also see this being a 2026 game. Then one more game that I wanted to add here as well in the maybe section is Where Winds Meet. Now the thing is, I'm making this video before the Chinese release date of this game, and there is no worldwide release date yet for it, but I am pretty sure that a translation shouldn't really take too long of this game, maybe just 1 year, which would put it maybe somewhere in the fall of 2025 that this one can release also in the West. So I do think that that's a possibility. Now, I really wanted to put Project Sentry and Virtua Fighter here as a bonus game, because as you all know, RGG works very fast, and even if one of these games doesn't come out in 2025, it will come out for sure in 2026, I can tell you. So yeah, you can confirm basically these games for a 2026 release. Capcom, their newest game, Onimusha, was also confirmed for a 2026 release. and I don't really see Capcom really delaying this one, so yeah, I also think that this is going to be on time for 2026. And no, don't ask me about Silksong, it's never going to come. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is really the end of this super duper most anticipated video games list video for 2025. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. Don't forget to like and subscribe towards the channel, because I normally do gaming news, leaks, rumors, that type of stuff, but also essay videos, high production, autistic level videos with Todd Howard on the channel, so don't forget to subscribe down below. You don't want to forget to subscribe, okay? And also your family and your loved ones. Todd Howard is very good at finding people at night. Anyways, yeah, that was the whole video. Go celebrate Christmas or something like that. Just I have better things to do right now. I have to do better things. Bye.
Bye-bye. Ciao. How do? A dash. A dash. Yeah. Dash.
And don't forget, Device Bay.